Hi, I'm Kimberly Waldron, co-founder of Skyparler PR and the host of Future of Banking podcast. I'm here today to talk about a region that everybody has got one eye on when it comes to fintech. And today specifically, I've got two fantastic guests who are going to share their thoughts on why collaboration is going to be so important in the future success of fintech in Latin America. So welcome Tiago Diaz, who is the VP of FinTech and Strategy for Latin America and the Caribbean at Mastercard, and Tori Jackson, who is Country Manager Mexico for Galileo. Thank you for joining me, guys. I'm going to come to you first, Tori, if that's okay, because you live and work in Mexico. You're heading the charge as Galileo pushes further south, I guess, when it comes to fintech, extending into LatAm out of the US and Canada. It's a big question and a big scene to set, but if you could just talk to us a little bit about the fintech landscape in Latin America, please.
Yeah, it's a great time, right? Great opportunity, challenging opportunity as well. If you look at fintech as a whole and how it's really taken hold in more mature markets, and if you look at Latin America as a whole, the opportunity is huge. If you think about the types of products that fintech companies are able to serve, and it really is amazing if you think about the underbanked or underserved populations, and that market segment is really wide open for innovators and people to come in and create products that are really going to change people's lives. And so there's a big impact that fintech can have down here and is already having. So if you look at Latin America, you have almost 650 million people, and 44% of those are underbanked or underserved. So again, just the opportunity is huge, and the sky's the limit for the types of products and things that could be solved for down here.
I noticed actually in a recent interview that I saw of yours that somebody raised the idea of financial inclusion, and you kind of flipped it and said, they call it financial inclusion, but I want that to be kind of driven by the people, which I thought was something that was really interesting. And I guess what you mean, well, you can tell me actually what you mean by that, but I was thinking you meant more, it's about what's going to best serve people, best serve the way that Mexicans live their lives, not something that B2B companies are going to hoist on them. Is that kind of the thing you were talking about?
Yeah, I mean, I think every market has its unique challenges, and every segment is different. And so, throughout the regions, there's a lot that resonates throughout Latin America. But I think, there's specific challenges that every region or every country within a region has. And so, I think you're referring to when I was speaking about how Galileo really helps for the solution to be born out of where the problem is originating. So I think that definitely rings true, and is a key point for enablers to really hone in on, so that we can really collaborate and make these things together and address these different problems, or these different things that are within each of the markets.
I get that. I guess that's where fintech itself has been so successful, where it's addressing specific needs and gaps in certain regions. And for that to work, the collaboration has to be between the tech providers, the fintechs, and also the local people in those geographies. So it's really good to hear that's where Galileo's strategy lies. Tiago, I guess then Mastercard as a long time presence in LatAm. You're based down there in Brazil, and how do you view the environment there specifically?
Hi, Kimberly. So yeah, I really want to be here in a kind of different situation, but despite the fact that we are facing these challenging times on COVID-19 and the pandemic, lots of confusion around, the governments and the decisions and how to better manage this crisis. I think even with this fact, we have two big opportunities here, right? So we see the the fintech market growing really fast pace, right? So as of today, total LAC, we can find around 1,400 fintechs, not all of them targeting B2C business directly, but also remittances, digital wallets, operators, financial inclusion play, also digital banking, acquiring business, such as Stripe and Adyen and a couple of others. So during this crisis, we saw a huge growth, right? So what we saw is the ones that have a solid business model that actually can solve a real problem, a real pain point for their consumers, they just found really, really great growth, right? So we've been seeing every single day numbers around 20 million customers, 10 million customers, 30 million financially included in Brazil through the Corona voucher. And I think that when we clearly understand what are the fintech's pain points and issues, we can partner, right? And that, I think, where our partnership with Galileo comes into play is how can we partner to offer something better for them to establish and grow their business, right? So I think we've been doing this for a while in LAC. 6 years from now, we started with Nubank, which is today the largest fintech in the world with more than 23 million customers. And that's why we've been called the partner of choice for fintechs in LAC.
I guess it's that joining, isn't it? Joining of the dots and the knowledge that Mastercard brings to the fintechs when it comes to individual sectors. Because I guess one thing we wanted to touch upon was the fact that fintech isn't just about financial inclusion when it comes to financial services. It's about connecting people to other things like, you know, Spotify and you know, city bikes, and how are people being prevented from growing and improving their social lives, and I guess that's where that collaboration comes in as well.
Yeah, sure. I think for Mastercard, it's being part of our core business, right? So the part collaboration for us is something that is pretty much connected to our brand and to what we essentially do. Imagine working without the collaboration with merchants, issuers, governments, acquirers, and so on. So every single move that we make, we always rely on collaboration, right? So I think that's where we can play a key role on even financial inclusion, provide better access to money, financial education for kids, for example, for teenagers. We have lots of cases in both in US and now in LAC. We've been seeing a lot of traction on that. But we see these in the collaboration itself in a broader way, right? So it's part of our values. So if you take a look at Mastercard values, we talk about trust, agility, initiative, and partnership, right? So by combining these four, I think we can bring, when we partner with companies, it's not about, you know, the operational stuff, getting a certification. It goes way beyond that, right? So how can we succeed together? How can we protect our customers? How can we bring innovative solutions to each one of the markets where we operate? Also, how can we tie it all together and deliver additional value, in this case for the fintechs, right? So I think our recent collaboration in Mexico is a really good example on that. How can we accelerate time to market, which is crucial for fintechs, right? So time to market means time to revenue, means a better use of funding, right? So this is where we are and where we think about what we think about when we partner with key players such as Galileo.
And I guess, of course, now that the spotlight is being shone more than ever on issues around a cash-based lifestyle. And, you know, it comes back to kind of general hygiene and the dangers actually of a cash-based lifestyle around the world at the moment. And more than ever, there's focus on that and how we solve that issue now in the industry. And coming back to you, Tori, talking about the benefits of a cash-based lifestyle and what's the opportunity to reduce that, as specifically in Mexico, but in LatAm in general.
Yeah, no, I think it's, you know, to your point, it's definitely, you know, there's an obvious push even more recently now with kind of the current situation and the way things are changing, which I think ultimately is really pushing the markets down here to adapt, and really increasing the demand for digital products and ways for people to move away from cash. And so that's definitely something that's live and happening right now, and very exciting to be in the middle of, right? And so if cash, other than just obviously the germs and virus and things like that can be spread from everybody touching everything, there's other benefits when it comes to just how secure funds are, how are you able to be robbed on the street, or are you able to buy something online? There's very different benefits and things that moving away from cash provide to the end consumer. And so really it takes kind of back to collaboration a little bit. It takes a lot to get these fintech programs more than just the technology or the brand and domestic capabilities. But if you look at the regulation and what is the government put in place to facilitate these different paths to getting these sorts of tools into people's hands. So just talking a little bit about collaboration, I think from my experience in the US and now coming to Mexico and Latin America, it seems like Latin America, it seems a bit more polarized, that the banks are kind of looking at the fintechs, and the fintechs are looking at the banks. And I don't know if we're quite friends yet, but from my perspective, this is really an effort that involves everybody, including you have Mastercard, you have the technology of Galileo in our platform, but you also have how is this even possible in the regulatory environment, and how could we all collaborate to make something work and create paths to better the current financial system, and what tools are available for users. So we work closely with our partners, with Mastercard, to be able to create that enabling layer, which is ultimately providing the tools and platform for these companies to be successful and create these products, and be very dynamic and flexible with what they can do, while at the same time those need to be able to be used for the end consumer, right? So everybody's focused on the end consumer, but it really starts at that enabling layer, and that's what requires so much collaboration.
You touched a little bit upon regulation there, and I know that Brazil and Mexico as individual countries have played quite a big role in lobbying some of the regulators in Latin America recently. But I guess this is where we need regulators to come in the region and be collaborators as well, be enablers, as opposed to sometimes being seen as restrictive. What do you think about that? Do you think if the regulators play a role in collaborating also?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. This, you can have the greatest technology in the world, but if you're not compliant, it doesn't really matter. Right. So, I think it's something that at Galileo, we've focused on as well. So, really understanding what that regulation is and what's going to be important for our partners to need to have offhand, whether it's reporting or whatever they need to give, so that they're able to operate in a compliant state. And so, Mastercard's been a great partner in helping us kind of understand that landscape as well down here. But, absolutely, the regulators play a key role in being able to enable Galileo, enable the companies that we serve.
And Tiago, do you have any thoughts on the same subject when it comes to the regulators?
I think Brazil and Mexico are both one step ahead when we think about LAC. They are much more fintech friendly, if we can call like this. Both are moving forward with open banking regulation. Brazil just announced it. We expect to see the first deliverable by November. The first instant payment transaction was confirmed by Brazilian Central Bank a couple of weeks ago. So there is a huge transformation on promoting competition, right? By creating the proper level of requirements. We don't need to go, beyond something that is not actually necessary. And at the same time, we promote competition. These at the end will bring some, better offerings, better pricing, fair fees for consumers and businesses that that are served by fintechs, and actually at the end of the day, they promote more and more competition. So I think when I think about Colombia, Peru, Argentina, Chile, all the regulatory entities are much more open to discuss. They want to learn more. They want to understand. They want to get the best practices. As an example, again, Brazil brought from UK and a couple of other successful markets all the open banking framework to establish ours, right? So I think this is kind of a trend in LAC on what and how much can we learn from other successful cases, bring the best practices, adapt to our local environment, and at the same time promote more innovation and more competition. At the end, the one that gets most of this benefit is the final consumer. And the ones that understand that and play this key role by complying with the regulatory environment, we also have our internal franchise requirements, right? So it's also part of our core business, and we will never give up on that, right? So this is the basis of the business that we built across the world. So by combining both, but at the same time bringing partners and smart assets, smart integrations, we can bring something much more smooth and less costly for these type of players, right? So they are much more uh, directed to the cost effective, the unity economics per customer. I think that's one of the most, hard terms that we get when we talk to fintechs. I need to focus on the unity economics. And this is pretty much important when we talk about how to offer better products with a fair fee for our final consumers. So they play a key role. They are, moving forward with the agenda, promoting more friendly regulatory environment. There are also some sandbox environment being built, both in Brazil and Mexico. We also, as Mastercard, we are also building this ecosystem through our Mastercard Accelerate for Fintechs, which is our global program that is designed for us to onboard, manage, and scale fintechs across the world. Through the Fintech Express offering, which is, by the way, something that Galileo is now enabled to offer. Just for you to have an idea, before 1 or 2 years ago, for a new issuer to launch in the market, it could take up to 8 months. So imagine a conversation with the CEO and co-founder of a fintech saying, "That's nice. Let's start your business. Your project timeline will take 8 months. You are out of the business for sure," right? So we've been working a lot on this, and we are now more than happy to, announce and talk to our customers saying we have different models that all of them comply with the regulatory rules and requirements, but at the same time we can now onboard and launch new business in 1 month, depending on the model that they choose, or no more than 2 months. So this is something really compelling. And we cannot do this alone. We can deliver this and offer this to the market through collaboration with our partners, with processors, with what we call enablers. And again, I hand it back to Tori, who is playing this key role in Mexico. And we have a successful case with Clark, for example, which is a really well-known fintech there that just launched this week their product.
We can talk to Tori, because I think you were naturally kind of handing over to say about the actual delivery. And we've spoken about the importance of collaboration, but it's actually getting these products market, isn't it, as well, and putting them in the hands of consumers. And I think that Tiago was touching on the fact that that's really starting to happen now, and Galileo's partners are playing a big role in getting things to the hands of consumers. So it'd be good to hear how is fintech starting to help consumers, and what examples are we really seeing of that in Mexico and LatAm as a whole?
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy to see, honestly, even just in the past month, I know, or 2 months, right, since we've kind of entered this unique situation. The demand has skyrocketed as well. Those that are, on the implementation path and looking to launch, at like Clar, their projections, their everything. It's like, here's our actual projections now, just given the new demand for our product. And so, Clar, I think that they have a great product. There's many needs in the market. It just going and touching quickly on financial inclusion again. It's not financial inclusion, in my opinion, is not just giving somebody a debit card with okay, here's where you can store your money. This it's so much broader than that. And how are you educating this market to in this region, right? How are you educating all these people that have never had a bank account and giving them an experience that they value? And it's a complete, it's a cultural shift. It's a shift in their life, and in a very positive way. But it's much more than just giving that card, right? The card's a great tool, but what else are you doing? I mean, can you invest, right? I mean, there's other great companies. I know Sergio with Flink, I know he's going to be speaking as well, but he has a great product as well, and really bringing investing to the market, which is something that even few, if you have 40% are those that have bank accounts, how many of those are actually able to invest? How many people in the market are actually investing? So I think it's important as these fintechs look to solve these problems in the market. It's more than just giving somebody a card that's never had one before. And so it's cool to see all the different ways that these problems and these different unique pieces of the market that haven't been solved for before by the existing entities that these agile fintech partners are coming in and really disrupting and giving that consumer options and getting them up to speed with what's available in the world of financial services and what tools they should have access to. So it's exciting to see those different solutions come out, and the speed at which they're doing it.
Yeah, and I'm glad you said that. Actually, you leapfrogged my question, which was around that responsibility of education, because it's kind of a digital inclusion as much as it is financial inclusion with fintechs. And it's not, I guess, the deployment of financial technology won't accelerate unless the consumers understand the benefits, and it applies directly to them. I remember in the UK we had contactless, and it wasn't going anywhere until we had the Olympics in 2012, and it was kind of mandatory on transport systems. And from that was kind of where everybody was going around, tapping and going. But until that point, until everyone understood it, I know that Tiago, you had some examples perhaps of where direct application of fintech technology where it's aided people's lives on quite a granular level. I think there's an example around a school food program that you perhaps wanted to talk about.
Yeah, sure. So I think back to Tori's point on, beyond cards, I think we've been talking about a world beyond cash, which is actually Mastercard's vision. And now I think we are adding more and more to our business conversations, a world beyond cards, right? So they are there. We're not saying at all that they will go, they will be vanished from the world at all. But consumers are more and more driving their, deciding the way they want to pay, right? So I think the message here is we have all the solutions that can be part of any kind of transaction, no matter how our customers choose to pay, right? So I think we want a world beyond cash. We see more and more that card is it's the first step for financial inclusion. But as to Tori's point is financial education is essential, right? We have this case in Brazil with the Corona voucher, where a public bank just opened 30, 40 million digital accounts just to deposit 600 reais, right? But there is no real financial inclusion behind that, right? It's not about having a branch and an account code. It's much more on how you manage your money and how you bring prosperity to people, right? So by offering lending features, cash out features, investment, then you can educate them through what we call a path to credit, right? So for them to be really educated and financially included. At the same time, we see lots and lots of really good examples in Brazil where fintechs are playing a key role on that. And again, to this same Corona voucher opportunity that came with all this pandemic, we saw in a matter of days, big retailers, big digital wallets, and fintechs connecting to this environment to allow consumers to pull this money out and then do their spending, buying groceries and so on, right? So they got this money out of this environment to a more holistic environment where they can top up mobile, top up transportation, withdraw money and so on, without having to have any physical contact, right? So keeping safety. And the case that you mentioned on the school meals, I think it was a really nice one, where in a couple of days, PicPay, which is a really well-known digital wallet in Brazil, connected to São Paulo government to deliver and distribute these school meals to around 300,000 kids and teenagers that are now out of school, right? So they are not having the school meal because all the public schools and even private schools across the country, they are closed. So they were this agent of distribution or this distribution channel in this case. And every single day we see more and more cases such as Mercado Pago, Recarga Pay, PicPay, Movi in Colombia, Walla in Argentina. So we see lots of cases, across LAC. There's a really good example such as Walla in Argentina, where we got some numbers saying that in specific neighborhoods, they own 7 out of 10 customers, meaning they all have a digital account from Walla. There is also PicPay in Brazil, which signed an agreement with São Paulo governor, and they are distributing school vouchers as part of the emergency aids being distributed to more than 300,000 kids and teenagers that are out of school because of the crisis. But we could mention lots of others, right? So Mercado Pago is doing a really great job on that, and they are reporting really high growth on new customers and the use of their digital wallets. Even PagSeguro accelerating their business. Recarga Pay that just reached also a couple of tens of millions digital accounts, such as PicPay, which just reached 20 million digital accounts. So we see fintechs that with high adaptability, agility, and as a true distribution channel that can reach people when no other financial institution can reach, right? So that's why we recently sent an open letter together with Brazilian Association of Fintechs, asking for the government to vote and to ask for the government to move forward with a law to include and consider fintechs as an actual distribution channel of all the government support and financial aid across, in this case it was Brazil, but we are supporting in Mexico, in Argentina, in Colombia as well, right?
I guess that's an example of where it's an almost emotional examples of where you realize the work that's happening in fintech and financial services can make such an immediate difference, and you would kind of realize your responsibility as somebody who's active in that. especially at this time. I hate to keep saying especially at this time, but I guess we all need that collaboration now more than ever. I guess coming back to Galileo, Tori, before moving into Mexico, you were exclusively in the North of America and Canada in the US. So specifically, what is it that you think, we've talked a little bit about some examples and some of the collaboration work that you're doing, especially with Mastercard. What is it that you're bringing to this market in Mexico and LatAm that was lacking?
Yeah, well, it's a great question. I mean, I think as far as what's been lacking, I think is really the again, back to the collaboration and the regulation in place to be able to facilitate different partners and different types of product constructs and different platforms, right? You think Mexico, and I think much of LatAm has been somewhat suppressed and at the enabling layer, and maybe there's some complacency in there that has really prevented best in class technology that other more mature markets in the US and things that we've worked with from really thriving and being able to be successful in the market. So again, I think it's a real combination of you have the fintech law, you have Mastercard who has their domestic switch, which has really allowed for Galileo to be able to plug into Mastercard and receive data as we would typically in the US, right? So we're able to through Mastercard's been able to be their global brand that has a lot of information and how to on getting domestically capable and able to work with these partners and fintechs in Latin America. And so utilizing that experience and our experience from a technology perspective and really trying to offer the same suite as we do and have had success in the US and Canada. So it's again, I mean, we keep touching on collaboration, but I think that's the title of this anyways, so it's probably okay. But it's very exciting to be able to work with our partners and fintechs and utilizing this new frontier of suite of products and platforms that our partners are able to leverage. So yeah, it's a combination of a lot of things, the regulation, the experience of the brand, and also just our experience in processing in general has been what's needed down here.
And obviously you're in Mexico right now, but where do you see perhaps the business heading next when it comes to Latin American countries?
Yeah, so Mexico really, to Tiago's point, Mexico and Brazil have really been leaders as far as, from that regulatory perspective, creating the right environment to be able to allow for Galileo and others to thrive down here. So we view Mexico really as the first domino. Obviously it's closest in proximity to Galileo's headquarters. So Mexico is an easy, it's quicker for me to get down here than it is for me to fly to New York or Miami. So this was, an obvious choice for that, the opportunity in the market. But, even if you look to how, Mastercard regionally is set up, you have the US, which is one region, but you have LAC, which is a whole nother region. And how many companies or how many countries are within that? So we view Mexico as the first, but definitely not the last. We're looking to Colombia, Argentina, Brazil, Chile, Peru, many of which that Tiago already mentioned. But we want to be offering our platform services and technology throughout the entire region.
And Tiago, you did touch upon a couple of specific geographies, but where do you see the greatest opportunity, especially when it comes to digital transformation and financial services?
Yeah, I think if you take a look at the total number of fintechs, for sure, Brazil and Mexico, they hold 1,200 out of 1,400. So basically 90% of the fintech activity is around Brazil and Mexico. Around 600 in Brazil, 440 in Mexico. So I think since Mexico is, I would say, 1 year behind Brazil in terms of new players launched, growing with established customer bases, I think Mexico is now for sure the hotspot. Brazil, there is high competition, right? So I mentioned just a couple of players here, but I could bring you a list of easily 50 successful fintechs, right? Which makes things a little bit more competitive, right? Then I clearly see Colombia doing a really great job on building value proposition, brand, community engagement, which, by the way, I think is one of the key things that every single fintech should work on. And it ties again back to the power of collaboration, right? So developing product solutions together with the community, together with your consumers. I think examples and business cases that are being brought to my attention from Colombia are great. Obviously, we have lots of opportunities in both Chile and Argentina, but I think Chile is especially a little bit more developed on the financial inclusion piece. Specifically, people are more banked as a country, right? Argentina has a little bit more challenges in terms of economy, politics, and so on. We all know about Argentina challenges. So I would stick to Brazil, Mexico, and Colombia for now. I think these are the three hotspots for where we may see the new trends and the new digital innovation.
Just a quick question for me on that. What's the balance like between existing fintechs, from other regions coming in and wanting to get in on the opportunity in LatAm versus homegrown talent, for want of a better word? What are you seeing the balance like?
There is lots of action around this, right? So and this is also one of the key reasons why we've been so proactive and working really close to Galileo. The more we see progress on solutions, API based systems such as Galileo's offering, we also receive more and more requests from our partners, our customers, saying, I want a regional coverage. I want one single partner for my regional expansion. I want one single approach, one single engagement model for global expansion. So on these, I could mention N26, Revolut, Voila, expanding outside Argentina, Nubank, which just announced in Mexico. So we see lots of traction on that. We've been getting more and more prepared to handle that, right? So how can we support, and this is also, again, one of our core business, how can we support our customers and our partner to reach global scale really fast and optimize and bring efficiency to all the processes?
Yeah, and I guess it comes full circle to Tori's kind of first point.
Yeah.
Because it was about understanding the regional and the local in-country needs, but having that collaboration and partnership with the understanding of how the fintech market works and how the different players need to collaborate and interact and work with the regulators to deliver sustainable financial models. So I guess, Tori, any comments on that? We've kind of gone full circle in the conversation.
Yeah, I think collaboration is key, and Galileo really focuses on being that bridge between the different entities that are required for a successful fintech program in any market, right? So it's crazy to see all of the growth and opportunity that's down here with fintech in Latin America, growing twice as fast as the industry as a whole. So this kind of untapped market down here is just an opportunity for enablers. It's an opportunity for fintechs and for really countries as a whole to really get these products into people's hands, that they're able to really see the benefit and what that can add of value to their lives. I think, you know, throughout my career now more than ever, I have, you know, just a you know, a lot of satisfaction and you know, just being able to see the impact that these types of products are having on people's lives in a positive way. That you know, it's very motivating and exciting to see how that changes lives, and on a personal note, that's meaningful to me.
Yeah, I think it's important that people working in your positions have that motivation though, because it reminds us all why we're all in the game, doesn't it? I think just another question for me. We're gonna have a very mixed audience tuning into this discussion, and collaboration is a broad word, and we've spoken a lot about collaboration, different entities. It's also a word used a lot in marketing when it comes to talking to SMEs, MMEs, enterprise businesses. But what you two are partners, you two collaborate in your day-to-day. What does collaboration look like really in a simple sense between a business like Galileo and Mastercard? I come to you, Tiago. Sorry, you're on my screen.
Yeah, for me? Okay.
Sorry, yeah.
No problem.
Yeah.
No, sure. I think it's having values that are aligned. So that's, for me, is the key component of, you know, building a partnership that drives collaboration. Teams that are also engaged with, you know, a broader deliverable. So I like Tori's approach on, you know, doing good. So we have this quote that always comes from Ajay, our global CEO, that he always says that our business is built and will succeed if we are doing well by doing good, right? So I think when we have all these values aligned, we understand our customer needs and we work together to solve these pain points or to address these needs. I think that's when the power of collaboration comes to play, right? So I think our experience in Mexico was great. I told Tori in another conversation that I felt like we were all jumping into a cold water pool, right? So it was like how to come to Mexico, how to get the certification, how to get customers, right? Because it's part of the business, and at the same time connect to the domestic switching, integrate to Mastercard products. So it was pretty much as a full experience of, you know, a new business in place that is giving us back some good results with Klar and a couple of other fintechs that will be announced soon. So again, I think from the moment we all agreed that we had to move in that specific direction, and we all included and dedicated resources, assets, and attention from, you know, senior management level even to the operational level, I think we made it through this journey, I would call. And now we see lots of good results, and we really hope to see news from other markets soon.
And Tori, what does, I guess, good collaboration mean to you at Galileo? Good, you know, good collaboration. It's not always good collaboration, but we're talking about that.
Yeah, no, I think referring to Thiago's point, it's, you know, having that alignment is crucial, right? And, you know, I like what you said about doing good. You know, that's core to what Galileo, you know, seeks as well. You know, we have the Galileo Foundation, where we try to, even beyond, you know, financial services and what we want to offer from, you know, an enablement perspective of our fintech partners. We also have the Galileo Foundation that we really seek to, you know, help people and do you know, philanthropic work to help in different countries around the world. And so giving Galileo employees and our partners opportunities to join us on that is a big push as well, that kind of aligns with that. But back to just the collaboration, you know, Mexico, You know, as Diego said, that was really just this is the first domino, right? You have these regional partners, or these fintechs that it's not I want to launch in Mexico and only be in Mexico. It's, you know, they're looking at least, you know, Latin America as a whole. You know, which is why it's more and more important that we hurry and are ready to be able to support business throughout the region. But yeah, just excited to do that and be aligning with partners like Mastercard to be able to make that impact.
And I guess where is it all going? Coming back to you, Tiago, where is it all going? What does perhaps 5 years from now look like in Latin America? You're quite open that, you know, there's been some testing of the water, some learning as things are going along, but what do you predict for the region?
I think the next trends, we conducted really extensive global researches recently due to COVID-19, and it's almost unavoidable to mention these, right? So I think the world from now on will be different from any prediction to 2025, you know, that was made a couple of months ago, right? So it's pretty much difficult to stick to the predictions. One of the trends that we saw clearly is contactless payments, card not present payments, which drives us to cybersecurity a lot, right? The other one is people getting more and more educated to what financial inclusion really is, right? It's not about, and again, to my point, it's not about providing a card and opening a digital wallet. If you don't know how to manage your money, if you don't know how to pay your bills, if you don't get a lending, you know, if you don't have all the financial services available and you don't know how to use them, you are not financially included, right? So you're just using a wallet to put your money, right? So I think this is the financial literacy, financial education is another big trend. And the players that are already working on personal finance management, artificial intelligence tools, such as Monitor, such as Nubank, which is working on this right now, such as Guia Bolso in Brazil, Curve in Europe. I think this is a huge one. In terms of number of fintechs and number of accounts, for sure, it's a wave that we will see for the next 5 years. When I talk to the business development teams in each one of the markets, we see every single week from 10 to 20 new opportunities coming to our attention, right? So this means that we see new business being developed more and more with better value proposition, with a better understanding of consumer needs and how to address that. So for sure, I think the next 5 years will be driven by agile, tech-oriented companies. I don't want to name only fintechs because we also see lots of big banks, financial institutions spinning off their business, buying, acquiring business for them to become more and more agile, right? So I think being agile, understanding your customer, addressing their needs, and being really relevant on the digital world, that for me will be game changing.
You're going to be very busy, it sounds like. Tori, same question to you. What are your thoughts on where fintech's going in LatAm in the next 5 years?
Yeah, well, it's here to stay. I'll tell you that. I think that it's you know, similar to Diago. Every day there's new prospects, new fintechs popping up, or wanting to move into the market, either or being, you know, born kind of domestically. The demand is huge, right? And I think that's definitely something that sets Latin America apart from other you know, other regions and parts of the world. Is just the demand is there, right? And I think people are becoming, you know, because of the digital world that we're living in, people are becoming more and more aware on, you know, what they don't have access to, right? Whether it's you know, just the simple fact of feeling secure on where your money is held. which I think is definitely another part of financial inclusion. So I think that as we become more and more aware, the markets become more and more aware, we're going to see entrepreneurs, innovators, and current platforms that are looking to take advantage and move into the different markets where this demand is. And Latin America, it's huge right now. I don't know another way to say it. It's amazing.
So I guess it's more awareness, more education, and more collaboration is what we're going to be seeing.
Yeah.
On that note, I think that that's been a fantastic discussion. Is there any closing comments that you have, either of you, to the discussion?
Sure. I think I have two big comments here on the 2025 trends. Mastercard recently announced that we increased our commitment on financially including. Since we just reached 500 million people across the globe, we committed to go further until 2025 to include and connect 1 billion people and 50 million small businesses, which is one segment that we can never forget, right? So there are lots of fintechs that are being built to address the small business needs, right? So I think these two consumer and SMBs oriented fintechs are here to stay. They are doing a great job on including more and more these two segments. So this is the first one. The second one is around how Mastercard is positioning and bringing more value to the fintech segment. So we have our global program called Mastercard Accelerate for Fintechs, which has a specific pillar called Fintech Express, which Galileo is part of. And again, it's designed to onboard faster, to bring more innovative value proposition and help fintechs to scale fast. So I think we are prepared to support. We have the tools, services, and partners to collaborate and win in this segment. That's my closing one.
So good, continue watching this space then.
Yeah.
And Tori, to close us out, any final thoughts on yourself?
Yeah, from my end, Galileo, we're super excited about Latin America and what we're going to be doing what we're already doing down here, and we'll continue to do as we move throughout the region. To Thiago's point about the Accelerate program, and really speed is obviously key. There's a big opportunity, but how fast are we able to take advantage of that? And so we're working very quickly to be able to be in these other markets, and as well as continue to launch quickly in Mexico and the other markets that Galileo is present. We also have a product called Galileo Instant that is providing a path even for non-fintechs to be able to very, very quickly issue cards to their users, right? So fintech companies, it takes a lot of horsepower, a lot of experience, and engineers and know-how to be able to develop these programs. And so we've really tried to make sure we have their bases covered from an API and technology perspective, and having our fintech partners have the tools to be successful, but also in looking at those companies that maybe do not have full engineering staff and suite of technology, that they can also leverage Galileo's platform through our Galileo Instant product, and getting digital payments, electronic payments into the hands of everybody. Not just those tech companies, although they're fantastic, but I think it's something that everybody needs. And so we have that instant model as well that we're looking to and excited to bring down to Latin America throughout the region. So Thank you for that.
No, thank you. Thank you, both of you, for sharing your thoughts. I'm sure that there's going to be a lot of people tuning into this session, and thank you again. It's been really interesting. I've really enjoyed hearing from both of you. I'll be certainly watching the space and seeing what happens in the next 5 years, or the next 5 months. Maybe it changes so quickly.